Welcome to the next step, where we explore exciting ways to make positive changes on the planet. My name is Becken. Today, I have a very special guest, Devi Prem. Devi Prem is a spiritual dancer and the founder and creator of Dolphin movement and the 7 sacred rhythms of leadership. Hi, Devi.
Hi, Becken. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh, you're welcome. It's nice to have you here live in the studio. So tell me, and our viewers, how did you come to, first of all, what is Dolphin movement?
I'm still birthing Dolphin movement. It's really something that's been coming through me from the Dolphin spirits, and it's all about tapping into the spirit and consciousness of unconditional love. And since my passion is movement meditation, dance, it's tapping into that field of unconditional love through dance.
Through dance. It sounds beautiful. How did you get the inspiration for Dolphin movement? I know that's an interesting story.
Well, all my life I've been wanting to take people to God through dance. And when I was really young, I drowned in the ocean. Was basically we could say an accident. From my experience, I actually wanted to leave the planet. I was kind of done here. And so I did what I knew best of really going back into the water, merging with the ocean. And there was the more dramatic experience of it was ice cold water, my legs were freezing, and that felt really horrible. But then once I left my body, there was always love and light, and it felt like I was swimming with etheric dolphins, with dolphin spirits in the ethers, and it was just amazing and beautiful. And then my guide said, you have a mission, you have to go back into the body. So they sent me back in. And then after that, the dance was always my way of connecting back to that experience, of connecting back to that love and that light and those spirits, to that world where everything's okay. And then throughout all my life, having been dancing and dancing, to me, it's really that pathway back home. And that's where, for me, I'd just like to share that of taking people back home to themselves, to that light and the love, to themselves through dance. And the dolphin spirits are really supporting that.
Beautiful. So you almost drowned, had an ecstatic experience that took you to a place of unconditional love, and learned or birthed a new way of dancing. Is that it?
Yes, it all came back a couple years ago where I had a knee injury, and so I did all my healing exercises for myself, deep shavasana, yoga nidra, called in all the guides of what I had learned doing healing sessions. And that's where the dolphin spirits very consciously came back into my life and were channeling the title Dolphin movement, were channeling the logo that you see on my webpage with the 2 dolphins jumping out of the water. And they're basically giving me all these teachings. And it wasn't really until then that I fully remembered that drowning experience as a child. I kind of knew about it, but I hadn't had the full memory back because I was so young, 2 years, that it all came back in. And then I started linking these two together. I was like, oh, that's why they sent me back. So now I'm ready to tap into my mission, to share that experience and to share the pathway of coming to that unconditional love.
Wonderful. It's actually fairly common that we may have some kind of ecstatic or incredibly powerful experience in our life, but the full lesson of that doesn't manifest for years to come. So how does the 7 sacred rhythms of leadership play into this?
It took me a whole year to figure that out. Separately, while I was sitting in India with my guru, Mata Amritananda Mahima, in meditation, I was receiving these 7 words and was told, or as I received it, was told to share it as leadership program through my passion dance. So in the beginning, these were 2 separate experiences for me. So she also sent me back to school. So parallel to that, I tried to figure out what are these 7 words that I was given, how are they in my body, how do they move, and what's the meaning of it. And then since my prof kept asking me, why 7, why sacred, why rhythm, why do you say leadership? So I kept going back into meditation, going, okay, I've been giving this, so I need to have the answers for that too. Why? Tell me now. And it's really a pathway of coming back to that full consciousness of oneness with all that is. That to me is that dolphin consciousness, to me is that consciousness of a near-death experience, of coming back, becoming one with Source. So it is that pathway all the way back from going into the body to being one with Source. The Buddhists call it nirvana, the Hindus call it moksha, to going back all the way, but not in a way of leaving our body, but by staying in our body.
That's really beautiful. Everybody has a slightly different concept of leadership. What is your definition of leadership, and how do you apply it?
To me, it's really about taking responsibility for one's own life. So where coming back all the way to that experience of being oneness with Source, to me, that is where leadership starts. So only if I'm actually in tune of experiencing myself in connection to Source, where I have the capacity to recognize my ego and put it aside and really tune in to what's thy will, what's God's will that wants to manifest through me, to really tune in what wants to manifest through me in my own life and acting from that place, and then taking it a step further, what most people understand as leadership, of then leading others. But first of all, it's really about leading your own life, tapping out of social construction, of our social idea of how we should be, into what's really authentic, what's really that connection to Source, that feeling the earth, being one with the planet, being one with the universe and the galaxies, of what's really meant here, of leading from that place.
So, if I'm getting you correctly, then leadership to you is bringing people back to their authentic spiritual self. And
Yes.
bringing that energy then down into the physical world. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's beautiful work. What is the benefit of this practice? How would the ordinary person benefit from what you teach?
So interesting enough, the guides told me to specifically teach it to young women. So where it's really meant as a dance of awakening, as I see it also as a dance of empowerment. To, if we really are fully authentic in our own bodies, if we tune back into oneness with Source, that we can leave behind everything we've been taught in high school, basically, where we are asked to do what the teacher is telling us to do, and to let go of this way of this is how I should be, this is how society wants me to be, to let go of everything someone else needs to tell me what to do, to really come back to, well, what really feels right to me, what's really the right next step I need to take in my life. So I really see it as a pathway into personal empowerment, especially for young people. And for young women, I see it's really important as we are stepping out of this age of patriarchy into empowering the sacred feminine.
Beautiful. Now, it's been a while since I was a young woman. So I'm not sure if I'm a candidate for this. But when you say young women, could you be more specific about what age group you'd be working with?
What I received was really young women in the early 20s that are in college.
Okay. I know a few people like that. One in particular, my daughter. So what is the easiest way to practice dolphin movement and to integrate the 7 sacred rhythms of leadership in someone's life? Can you give us just a hint at that? I know that's a big subject.
Yeah, so the easiest way is turn on music and be yourself.
Beautifully done.
I do have a few videos out on YouTube on my webpage that say a little bit about the rhythms and have a little bit of guidance in it. And if you really, if your daughter would be really interested in tapping deeper into the practice, I do offer classes and workshops.
Okay. Are you the only person who's teaching this?
At this point, yes.
Ooh,
This
is a unique opportunity. Any young woman out there, this is a unique opportunity, the only person on the planet. You have to come right to the source. So Devi, would you give us a brief outline of the 7 sacred rhythms of leadership and help explain what they're all about?
Yes, I'd be happy to. So the 7 sacred rhythms of leadership in short are, first one is ground, second one is clarity, the third one is center, the fourth one connection, the fifth one, essence, the sixth one, synchronicity, and the seventh one is being. So the first one is really about grounding into your body, and it connects to the first chakra of really that groundedness of really being into the body, like relaxing into the body. The prerequisites that I noticed for that is really that authenticity of really being authentic in yourself, and that way you can really relax into the body and really ground into it. The second one, the clarity, is becoming like after you are grounded, you keep the groundedness, becoming clear on who am I in this lifetime, what's my personality, what am I here for. And the prerequisites for that is that focus of that one-pointed presence, of being present in the present moment, of really, okay, I'm in my body and oh, this is who I am, outside of any social conventions. So my intention is really here about getting people out of doing what they're told to do, but really being authentically themselves, and then having that one-pointed presence in the present moment of, oh, this is who I am. Like, oh, this is really who I am. And then from there, the third rhythm center, it's that centering between earth and source, with the just like staying in that center and still being in movement. So still taking that center into action. And to me, that's really the state of meditation, of keeping that and then still being out in the world. So, and the prerequisite for that is really dignity, of finding your own dignity. So you are in your body, you are grounded, you find out like, oh, this is who I am, and then you find your dignity in it. And in that dignity, you are centered between the earth and source. And then in the fourth rhythm connection, you really connect into your own heart center. It's really that deep connection to yourself, of that, that's really loving yourself. It's really about deeply loving yourself, of that surrender. So it's surrender to a higher force in a way of really surrendering to your own soul essence. And it's that from there you can really get out, like expand that love out. So you have to love yourself first before really expanding out, loving others. And it's really that prerequisite of surrender to a higher force, of just really loving yourself. So, and love then is the prerequisite for the next one, of really dropping into your soul essence, of really like authentically being yourself, but on such a deep level of just knowing your mission, know why you are here, and expressing that, of finding your own voice. So that's then going through the chakra system. The fifth rhythm connects to the throat chakra, of like finding your own expression in the world. Like what's your mission? How do I share that? How am I of service? Then the sixth rhythm, it's synchronicity. It's like tapping beyond the physical world into what's really like in the empty space. That's for me the world of angels and fairies and nature spirits. That's kind of where I live. And it's that like finding healing abilities and receiving messages, like noticing more telepathic connections and becoming very empathetic. And so just like sensing the field. So, and to me the prerequisite is prayer. To me, being in connection with these spirit beings is really a connection to prayer, of that just tapping in, like staying in your body, staying in the heart center and tapping into that field. And then beyond that, the seventh rhythm beingness, where you just tap into the crown chakra. Prerequisite to me is humility, of really like any I-ness, any sense of I, ego, really needs to leave, needs to be set aside, of being in union with all that is.
There's a lot of information.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, do you take people through it step by step, or is it all mixed together?
I consciously take people through it step by step. Sometimes I just guide through it through the music, where I might just say key points of guiding people into the body, guiding people into the heart, guiding people into the soul, and then into pure stillness. So if I keep it easy. So depending where people are, if I really feel them being tuned in where they're at, I keep all of the theory out and really just let them guide in. And the way I guide is really about like, just really feel your body, really be in it. Like, what's your longing? And feeling into that longing. So I'm guiding through words like that. And sometimes I'm more specific, where I really very specifically go through each rhythm and we specifically go through it for people that have never been dancing, that have never experienced meditation. For them, it's easier to really go through it very specifically.
And each of these centers is integrated into Dolphin movement, yes?
Yes, to me, Dolphin movement is really that ultimate state of consciousness, of that union with Source. And the movement, the whole teachings are about movement and movement meditation, and I do call in Dolphin and Vedic spirits, so they are with us the whole time, either in personal sessions or in groups, and so they are part of that guidance. And to me, movement becomes like moving grace.
That is beautiful.
Devi, how do the 7 sacred rhythms of leadership tie into the ancient Vedic system of knowledge?
Well, I use the word rhythm because the whole universe is based on vibration. We have the Big Bang, and it actually starts with vibration. It starts with rhythm. So we are intimately connected to that rhythm of the earth. So, and then each chakra in the chakra system has a vibration in it. So that's rotating. So it also has its innate rhythm. So we are really based on rhythm through creation. And it's all about finding our own rhythm, our own innate rhythm. And from the ancient texts, it really starts also with sound. So again, sound is rhythm. So, and from sound, manifestation comes. I also noticed, having studied the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali in depth and having been teaching those, that the 7 sacred rhythms of leadership really tie into the Eightfold Path of Raja Yoga, into that ancient system where we start out with Chitta Prasaranam, which means a stable mind field, which also includes a stable emotional field. When we ground in our body, as I see it, the body in that Vedic system is part of the bigger mind field, Chitta. So we stabilize that field, so there's an equilibrium happening. Then we come into one-pointed focus and clarity in the second rhythm, which is dharana, that one-pointedness. Then in the third rhythm, it's dhyana, it's meditation, where we center. So we center meditation, we center in ourselves. And then in the fourth rhythm, connection, to me that's Ishvara Pranidhana. It's that surrender to a higher force, it's that devotion, that bhakti to God, basically, to the divine. In the fifth rhythm, essence, to me that's the first step into samadhi. So in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, 8 steps within samadhi, 8 steps of enlightenment are being specifically defined. I'm just taking the beginning and the end here. So it's the first step into samadhi, into enlightenment, where you are centered in your heart and you start tapping into basic your experience of Atman, the individual soul in Vedanta. Then beyond that, where you tap into synchronicity, the sixth rhythm, sensing the field in the empty space. To me, that's the whole third chapter of the Yoga Sutras. That's called the vibhutis, often shared as powers that one has to be very careful about. But once you actually sense that field and you might receive abilities to heal others, it's really meant to be of service to others. So that's where it's that pathway being centered in the heart first. So any healing capacity cannot be misused. It's really in service. And then the 7 rhythms and all the 7 rhythms connect to the chakra system. So it's basically then the 7 chakra, and that's to me then final samadhi, asam prakshanata samadhi, of that complete union with one, all that is, where no sense of I still exists, and it's just stillness.
Very nice. So Dolphin movement and the 7 sacred
rhythms of leadership.
Thank you. The 7 sacred rhythms of leadership tie together. And for anyone who's familiar with yoga or Patanjali's sutras, you will find a connection there. And even if you aren't, Devi, you've done a wonderful job of bringing it into English and breaking it down, so I think even most people can begin to get an understanding of what you're doing.
Thank you so much. And it's really also about within yoga, I'm kind of taking people out of being told what to do to really what's your authentic movement. So that's where I'm taking it from Hatha yoga, the very masculine path, into the sacred feminine of what's your own innate movement that's coming from within.
And where is it being taught?
It's taught in the San Francisco Bay Area, around San Francisco right now. And I intend to spread it and going to do my best to get it on video so it can get out internationally.
You're delightful, Devi. It's really fun talking with you. How can people contact you if they're interested in the Dolphin movement?
So I do intend in the future to open it up to other age groups and genders. And
Would that include me?
yes, because you're so delightful. So you can go to my webpage, which is my full name, deviprem.com. And there's more contact information on there, phone number, email. I'd be happy to have a personal conversation with anyone who's interested. I'm happy to come into classes in colleges, to teach specifically in women's programs, to offer classes in the evenings, to share my experience and to be an inspiration. So that's deviprem.com.
deviprem.com to get in touch with Devi Prem and Dolphin movement and the 7 sacred rhythms of leadership. It's been a delight talking with you, Devi. You're a beautiful woman and a spiritual leader on the planet. I honor you completely. You've been watching The Next Step. My name is Becken, and I encourage you to take the next step and do something positive on the planet.